What's good, gamers? Welcome to 2025. My name is Blood941, and this video we're going to be milking the algorithm for that sweet hand cannon boost and talking about the round robin. But before we get too deep into the video, if y'all could click like and hit subscribe as well, that'd be very, very cool. This year I'm going to be putting out videos at least once a week on Fridays at noon Eastern time, and I would appreciate if y'all would stick around for that in the future. So let's break down what we're talking about today. Today is it's the round robin hand cannon. It's a 120 aggressive frame hand cannon in the kinetic slot that does strand damage. It comes from the Neomuna suite of weapons and is part of the craftable portion within that denomination. I'm going to be comparing it against Kremel's Dagger, Exuviate, Targeted Redaction, and Igneous Hammer. Kremel's and Exuviate share the same slot and are also the most recent 120s added, I think. I've done a video on Targeted already, so what I've said in that one can be used as context for this and vice versa. And Igneous Hammer is, well, it's Igneous Hammer. I'm including it because it's a benchmark, but to save you some time, Round Robin isn't better unless your entire build in PvP revolves around Threadlings. In any event, on paper, Round Robin is the worst modern 120 in the game. Like, if you look at all these stats, it is the lowest number in every single spot compared to the other four that I listed. It is somehow worse than Targeted Redaction. Now, I know all that looks pretty bad, but believe me when I tell you that I am always surprised when I compare stats of 120s and I find that Round Robin is the bottom. It's never felt like a bad weapon, and it performs well above what its stats would suggest. Let's take a look at the perks it can get and see if we can't diagnose why it doesn't care about those initial starting points. In column 3, you've got Under Pressure, Killing Wind, Fourth Time's the Charm, Subsistence, Perfect Float, Envious Assassin, and Keep Away. Alright, we got a mix of pretty good and useless for PvP here. Under Pressure is great on weapons with lower mag sizes that are heavily affected by accuracy cone adjustments, two characteristics that 120s have in spades, so it's decent. Killing Wind is a wonderful chaining perk that pairs well with Kill Clip or Tricorn in 4. Fourth Time is not useful for PvP unless you're on meth. Subsistence doesn't proc reload effects, and this weapon isn't a weapon with onslaught, so do not use it. Perfect Float is good if you're in 6s, since the activation timer is half that of Frenzy, and both Airborne Effectiveness and Flinch Resist are quite useful for this kind of weapon, so that's a decent choice there. Envious Assassin is not a PvP perk. And finally, the best perk in the game, on like 90% of weapons, Keep Away. I've talked about it before, but I'll repeat myself for those of you not familiar. Keep Away is an uncontested monster of a perk. It does everything you want a stat boost perk to do. It has one of the lowest investment activation requirements in the game, and can comfortably sit on most weapons that can roll with it. Free range, reload speed, and accuracy for just playing at the optimal hand cannon range. The only times I found myself not wanting this on a gun was when whatever I was using on already hit the range cap and was competing against another quite good option in that same column. Unless you're diametrically opposed to using Keep Away for whatever reason, it's your best option here. Enhanced pushes your base range to 68 before any other adjustments, and that's a fantastic starting point. If you're addicted to being special, Under Pressure is my second pick, then Perfect Float. In column 4, we've got Pugilist, Elemental Capacitor, Harmony, Golden Tricorn, Kill Clip, Opening Shot, and Hatchling. This column is stacked, dude. Pugilist is probably the weakest choice. Melee kills don't go all that well with the range you're playing at with this gun, so it's not going to be something you take advantage of often, but it still isn't the worst thing in the world. Elemental Capacitor can really boost the weak reload speed with Solar or stability with Void. Great if you're looking for a specific weakness to get rid of, and it lines up with your preferred super element. Just not a pick that I really like running. Harmony does well if you're swapping quite a lot, and to be honest, the way that I'm playing in these clips would take full advantage of it, but it's not what I'm using either. Tricorn on Strand is much better than on Stasis, so this is a good pick. A lot of very strong Strand abilities and multiple charges, and decent kill potential in the game. An extra 50% damage with optimal circumstances is nothing to scoff at. I'm pretty sure you will 2-tap everybody with this, so pretty good. Kill Clip is also cracked. The shitty reload speed feels bad, but it isn't hard to address with the slightest bit of build craft. The damage boost from this gives you a 2-tap at tier 8 Resilient or lower, so that's pretty strong. Most people are sitting around tier 8, but you're not getting the 2-tap against a tier 10. So you might need to clean it up a little bit just in case, you know. Opening Shot is a great pick if you're having a difficult time starting your engagements. It's not as good on primary weapons as it is on specials, but it's still a good option. So Hatchling is my preferred option. It's not the best though. The utility of generating Threadlings off of precision kills is quite nice. Chasing the little worm to the next kill, making people needlessly panic and reveal themselves, or priming the next target you're fighting is something that I have found to be quite useful in 3s and trials. I don't think this is what you're looking for if you want to have the best performance overall. It's just my pick because I like the fun gameplay that comes from it. And if you're deciding between a few options in the same slot and frame, I'd like to take advantage of the unique stuff available. Other 120s can shoot gooder, none of them can create bugs, so this is why it's my pick here. Like I said, this column is stacked, everything here has merit. Pugilist is the weakest pick due to melee fights not being what you're looking for in this kind of gun, but if you're funny and weird, it can absolutely work. I've said my piece about why I prefer hatching already, but I do recognize that Killclip, Tricorn, or Harmony are much better picks if you're just trying to win. I've talked about the Origin trait and Nanotech Tracer rockets in the File Tactic Spiral video, so if you'd like a more in-depth analysis, feel free to check out that if I put it on screen somewhere. But the too long didn't watch is that it's fantastic, and you don't have to think about it. Hallmarks of a good Origin trait. Aggressive frame hand cannons have high range and low fire rate, meaning SMGs pair perfectly if you're looking for a primary weapon in the energy slot, which I'm a double primary player. I know not everybody is, but that's my bread and butter. Ikelos isn't as strong as it used to be, but it's still a good pick. I am for some reason using Noxious Vetiver and do not enjoy it, but with Target Lock it's usable. Parabellum, Subjunctive, or even Teraba if you're into something a little bit more exotic. Not bad options. The Riposte works here as well. If you'd rather let Round Robin be more of a supplemental pick and you have a decent roll of this, the Summoner with Heel Clip and Onslaught fucks unbelievably hard. If you'd rather go special instead, whatever your preferred energy precision shotgun is would be decent. Compass Rose, Matador, the new Void one that I can't remember the name of because I'm bad. I made that joke twice already. Well, if you're into fusions, you probably have a good one picked out and ready to go already, and I don't need to give you buildcraft advice in PvP anyway, so keep trucking, King. Close range or bust in your energy slot. Simple as. A small side note, I'm so sick of fighting the same stupid pulse rifle over and over again like it's Warmind, man. I'm talking about Graviton. For some reason, I just didn't say the gun's name. Whoops. Oh god, why'd they tweak that? It didn't need it. The 2-round burst pulses did not need a buff. They got one anyway. I don't know. Fucking weird. All that being said, Round Robin does not fight them on their terms very well. It's Destiny. Like with all weapons in Destiny, optimal positioning is more important than every other aspect of purely gun-based combat, like 90% of the time. So, don't fight something on its own terms if you can avoid it. You'll still smack people of upwards for 60 damage if you can crit at a decent range, so it's not useless, but if your target has a weapon built to fight back from all the way out in buttfuck nowhere, you probably aren't winning that fight, so don't take it. So now we get to the part of the 120 hand cannon video where I complain directly about Igneous Hammer and how it's never going to be anything but the correct choice. It has better base stats, an adept version, better PvP perks, and lets you run shit like Chaperone, Conditional Finality, or some other fancy exotic in the kinetic slot that every Stompies hunter is using to stat pad in Trials. There are 2, maybe 3 things that Round Robin has going for it over Igneous, and realistically they don't always matter. You have slot, damage type, and ease of acquisition. Igneous is obviously the energy slot, as opposed to Robin being in the kinetic slot, and it does solar damage as opposed to strand damage. Damage type doesn't always matter in the Crucible, but it can if you're trying to do something very specific, and if you would like to use something else in a different slot matters there. Ease of acquisition is probably the biggest thing that it has going over Igneous, because Igneous you have to play Trials and get a good one to drop. Round Robin is a destination weapon that is also craftable, meaning it is literally inevitable that you will have the exact one that you want, removing the extra playtime that I know Reddit likes to complain about so much in order to get a piece of gear. Now, I'm not like other girls, so even though I have a decent Igneous, I still prefer to use other 120s just to be different. Hearing the same firing sound from my enemies that I'm using just gets grating after a while, you know? And the hammer's a little boring to play with. It's got no silly shenanigans to lean into for optimal performance or unique tools. It's just a very good gun. But I'm fully aware that I'm just trying too hard to be special. If you want a 120, a bad Igneous is honestly better than this, except maybe one with Slick Draw. But that's because that perk is dog shit and should never be used in any circumstances, so Back to Round Robin. It performs well above what the stats would suggest, and is one of 2 hand cannons with access to Hatchling. The other being the reissued Better Devils, which is, piss. So if you're looking specifically for a long-barreled strand monster that can kick people in the teeth, or if you're playing Destiny's version of a Summoner class and like the color green, you quite literally do not have any other hand cannon options. It's a unique tool to have in your arsenal that will surprise you often enough that you'll forget its base stats are ass. I do personally highly recommend this hand cannon. It is very, very easy to go and get yours. You probably already have one without even realizing it, as long as you have Lightfall, obviously. It's a lot of fun. It's much better than it would seem. Nuts on the table just using Igneous, though. But with that, that's going to do it for me today. How do you guys feel about this gun? Do you use it a lot? Do you hate it? What are you using on it? Am I sleeping on the perk combination that I didn't mention, or anything that you think I might have missed? I would love to hear what you were thinking about in those comments down below. Thank you guys for sticking around into the new year. I got some plans for this one, and we're gonna be we're going to be keeping at it. So, less overall uploads this year, but I'm going to try to put a little more effort into the videos, making a little bit higher quality. So I'd appreciate y'all sticking around for that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.